Local radio in West Yorkshire has a complex, emotional, and fiercely independent history, full of innovation, controversy, rebellion, and the deep community ties that other forms of media could never replicate. Beyond the technical launches and closures, this is a history of characters, rivalries, social movements, unexpected comebacks, and stations that refused to die even when regulators, landlords, or the police came knocking. BBC Radio Leeds, launched on 24th of June 1968, marked the region's first consistent licensed local voice, broadcasting originally on 95.3 FM. Its early days were very much a BBC affair, measured, formal and somewhat detached from the vibrant culture of Leeds, Bradford and the surrounding towns. Still, it provided a vital public service covering events like the 1974 local government reorganisation, Yorkshire Ripper trial coverage, and the Bradford City Stadium fire aftermath. By the 1990s, it had become a trusted voice with presenters like Andrew Edwards and Liz Green shaping public discourse. Rumours often swirled around internal arguments at the station over editorial independence, especially during the 1984-85 miners' strike, where accusations surfaced that BBC regional stations were pressured to soften union coverage. One of the most whispered about controversies occurred in 2003, when internal sources alleged that a live call-in regarding policing in Hare Hills was abruptly faded out mid-sentence due to a content risk assessment. Presenters reportedly protested behind the scenes, with one even threatening to resign. While the BBC denied interference, the debate raised fresh concerns about how much editorial freedom local presenters really had. Presenter Liz Green once said in a 2010 interview, "I had to walk a line every single day. You were expected to give the people of Yorkshire a voice, but at the same time, you were watching every word. I loved the job, but it wasn't always easy." The real fireworks began in the 1970s with the rise of commercial radio. When Pennine Radio launched on the 16th of September 1975, its bold sound and regional pride created instant loyalty. Broadcasting on 103.4 FM from Bradford's Forster Square, the station made stars out of its presenters. Elisa Hilton's breakfast show was once rumoured to be drawing more local listeners than BBC Radio 1. Tensions emerged when competing stations accused Pennine of jumping embargoes on new music releases. In one infamous incident, a PR company reportedly blacklisted the station for playing a major artist's new single 48 hours early. On the station's 10th anniversary in 1985, a surprise party broadcast went off the rails when two former presenters crashed the studio live on air. The event, which started as a nostalgic celebration, ended with a bitter exchange about the station selling out its local roots. Radio Air exploded onto Leeds airwaves in 1981, backed by Yorkshire Radio Network. With a transmitter atop Morley Water Tower and 96.3 FM reach stretching into parts of South Yorkshire, it quickly became the loudest voice in town. Early income soared past £1.5 million by 1983, with major advertisers clamouring for airtime. Air's newsroom famously broke the story of the 1985 Leeds riot live on air. Presenter Steve Priestley later revealed in a podcast that they had to keep broadcasting from a backup line after protesters blocked the building's front entrance. Rumours persisted in the 90s that EMAP, after purchasing the station, banned certain Yorkshire dialect words to make the station more network-ready. Some presenters reportedly quit over what they called the Londonisation of Leeds radio. One former showrunner allegedly kept a secret log of banned phrases, which included chuffed and ginnel. A former technician remembered a 1998 equipment failure that took the station off air for 6 minutes, an eternity in broadcast terms. He said, "We had listeners calling in to ask if we'd been raided or bombed. That's how loyal they were." Meanwhile, pirate radio was boiling underground. Dream FM launched in 1992 in Leeds, changing the musical landscape overnight. Broadcasting from tower blocks and abandoned flats in Hare Hills and Chapeltown, Dream played jungle, hardcore and house long before mainstream stations dared. Police and DTI raids were frequent, but the station bounced back repeatedly, often within hours. In one legendary case, a transmitter hidden in a church bell tower kept broadcasting despite repeated attempts to shut it down. Dream's license application in 1995 came close to success, with insiders claiming a last-minute lobbying effort by a commercial rival helped block it. Former Dream DJ MC Justice recalled how they once locked themselves in a studio for 24 hours during a New Year's marathon broadcast, surviving on takeaway curry and cans of lilt. The broadcast featured live jungle sets, shout-outs from pirate stations in London and Birmingham, and a last-minute MC battle judged by text message votes. "I still remember the phone line melting down," Justice said. "We had 13-year-olds calling in from Morley pretending to be DJs. That was the magic. Everyone felt like they were part of it." Bradford's PCR People's Choice Radio mirrored Dream's impact in the Asian and Afro-Caribbean communities. Launched around 1993 on 106.2 FM, PCR wasn't just a station, it was a movement. Local rumours tell of a 1994 raid where listeners actually formed a human chain to protect a transmitter site. Its DJs, including Mikey Dread and DJ Shaquille, became local heroes. In a 2006 retrospective interview, DJ Shaquille said, "We weren't just playing music, we were giving people somewhere to belong. My gran used to listen just to hear someone speak in our accent." Fresh FM followed in 1994, using mobile transmitters mounted on cars and bikes to stay one step ahead of authorities. With a focus on garage, grime and UK hip-hop, it gave early airplay to now-established MCs. During one raid, the DTI was met by a mock funeral procession, broadcast live, as DJs played "I Will Survive" while moving their studio out the back door. It's said that one DJ hid the station's primary mixer in a baby stroller to escape detection. Legal community stations began flourishing after 2000. BCB 106.6 FM in Bradford became a multilingual hub, often producing programming in Urdu, Polish and even Tigrinya. During the 2007 floods, the station broadcast around the clock to provide emergency updates, with some volunteers reportedly sleeping in the studio. Phoenix Radio in Halifax turned a youth project into a proper station, famously helping 3 former NEAT participants go on to radio careers at the BBC. Fever FM, launched in 2008 on 107.3 FM, served Harehills with a rich mix of music, religious content and local politics. Known for its direct call-in shows, it once hosted a town hall debate that saw 2 city councillors walk out live on air. Presenters later revealed that one of the mics had been sabotaged before the show, causing conspiracy theories to circulate online for weeks. Sangam Radio in Huddersfield maintained a quieter but consistent cultural presence, serving Punjabi and Urdu-speaking communities with devotional and family programming. It played a key role in organising relief after the 2015 floods, acting as a coordination point for volunteers. Commercial stations, meanwhile, underwent intense change. Ridings FM, launched in Wakefield in 1999, was considered one of the most community-rooted ILRs of its time, so much so that local legend says a coalition of listeners offered to crowdfund it when its closure was announced. Huddersfield FM, later Home 107.9, and then Pennine FM, was similarly loved. By 2006, its staff were producing content for both Huddersfield and Dewsbury under immense financial strain. When it folded in 2010, former staff claimed they were locked out of the studio overnight without notice. One DJ allegedly climbed through a window to retrieve his vinyl collection before the locks were changed. Galaxy 105, originally Kiss 105, offered dance and urban music with a Leeds swagger. Its live broadcasts from Gatecrasher, Ministry of Sound and Ibiza made it a powerhouse across the north. DJs like Emma B became household names. Rumour has it that during a 2001 all-night broadcast, the station accidentally went live to air with a backstage argument between 2 DJs, drawing over 200 complaint calls in under 10 minutes. Rather than apologise, the station leaned into the chaos and aired a remix of the argument the next day. Among legendary presenters, few left as lasting a mark as Martin Kellner on Radio Air. Known for his sharp wit and ability to juggle music with satire, he famously ran a segment called Why Do You Bother?, where listeners could rant about pointless everyday grievances. One week, the subject was electric tin openers, sparking an hour-long phone-in that ended with someone donating theirs to the station for Destruction Live on Air. Elisa Hilton at Pennine Radio was another voice that helped define an era. Listeners remember her warmth and ability to switch from community news to chart hits with effortless charm. She sounded like your favourite aunt who somehow knew every new tune before you did, said one long-time listener named Paula. I'd leave the radio on while I cleaned the kitchen just to feel like someone was keeping me company. Then there was the infamous Alan from Armley, a frequent caller to various shows on Air, Pulse and even briefly Phoenix FM. Known for bizarre trivia and increasingly wild conspiracy theories, Alan once claimed that DAB radio was secretly controlled by southern magnets. Despite multiple bans, he would resurface with new names and voices. He was annoying, brilliant, completely unpredictable, said one former producer. And honestly, he made great radio. Other famous call-ins include the 1996 Pasty incident on Dream FM, where a caller trying to freestyle over a drum and bass track began rapping about his Greg's lunch. The clip went viral in early internet forums and was later sampled in a UK garage tune played on LDC radio in 2022. One of the most chilling moments came in 2001 during a late-night shift on Home 107.9 in Huddersfield. A DJ known as Steve Michaels was reportedly on air alone when he received a phone call from a panicked woman claiming she was being followed. The call lasted nearly 5 minutes and ended abruptly. Police were informed, but no trace of the woman was ever found. To this day, the incident is occasionally referenced in local online forums as the Ghost Call of Lockwood Park. Even prank calls earned their place in radio folklore. Radio Air in 1987 ran a Pet Psychic sketch where a DJ pretended to speak to listeners' animals live on air. The segment caused a deluge of phone-ins from people asking for predictions about their budgies' cats and, in one case, a tarantula. The bit was so successful that it returned for years each April 1st. As community radio grew stronger, personalities like DJ Susie B at BCB and Uncle Lucky at Fever FM developed cult followings. Uncle Lucky once played 5 versions of the same Bollywood track back to back just because he could, said a listener from Manningham. No one was going to tell him otherwise, and we all loved it. Meanwhile, the 30th anniversary of Dream FM in 2022 sparked unofficial meetups, tribute mixes and limited edition merch. A sold-out reunion party at a secret Leeds warehouse was DJ'd by original Pirate crew members and included a Dream wall covered in old flyers, cassette, J-cards and listener quotes. This wasn't nostalgia, it was testimony. West Yorkshire Radio wasn't just about playing music, it was about reflecting life, amplifying voices and giving people something to hold on to. It made heroes out of hosts, cult figures out of callers, and built memories that echoed far beyond the static. And still, it continues. Whether it's inside a modern studio or under the floorboards of a community centre, the mic is always live, the signal's still strong, and someone, somewhere is tuning in, not just to hear a song, but to feel at home.